Hello, and welcome. Welcome to more Challenge Cup Season 6 coverage today with a Round 1 match, Spikevegeta versus Zorro. And your commentators today couldn't be a more awesome team. It is Benjy, it is KLO, and a returning star of the show, Killer Beans. Folks, how are you?
I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's definitely a good end to the day. To be back here on the Silver Gauntlets.
Glad to be back myself. I've been excited for this for the last couple of days since I signed up. Glad to be back in the booth.
Welcome back. And there's
Beans, I was going to say, do you want us to make the joke about FPAs or should we leave that?
I mean, it's probably gonna happen. So
We'll
Fingers.
see. We do
Fingers
have the
crossed.
snazzy.
Yeah.
We do have the snazzy new layout for the Challenge Cup brackets, where we have.
Isn't it
stats.
exciting?
We have numbers for those
Yeah,
Excel
Zorro's
spreadsheet fans.
slightly edging the head-to-head, 4-3, and a lot of really strong finishes, but also also a higher forfeit rate. So potentially, just actually. Maybe sometimes a seed you don't that a seed maybe you don't. I'm not that interested in it. We'll put it that way. But
Yeah,
obviously,
if
no
you're not having
forfeits.
fun. If you're not having
No
fun, you can always leave.
Yeah, no forfeits here. In terms of seeding, you can see it just on the screen there, just to the left and right of the Challenge Cup. Spikevegeta is probably the bigger name player, but more of a jack of all trades. Randomizer, 91 seed overall. For Zorro, this is their third consecutive time in Challenge Cup. We're here in seasons 4 and 5 as well. But the highest seed coming into this matchup, seed number 80, a member of our French community, I think she is. And certainly not one to be slept of. Slept on. My mouth works, it's fine.
Don't sleep on them or sleep off them.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, a very exciting race between, as you can see there, two runners who, have roughly the
Same
about
win rate,
even
but there's
ability, I think.
A very different number of races from each. Zorro over 100. Spike, I think it was 28. As you said,
yeah,
he's more of a jack of all trades across the entire Zelda series. And
Spike has been around since version 1 of the randomizer, I think. So just a lot of seeds over time, but maybe fewer seeds under these particular settings. We're starting as an adult in the temple, and Spike's going to immediately check the medallions, which are Water, Spirit, Forest, Jabu, Pocket, Shadow?
Yes, Shadow last. We do have a prelude start, so child movement is going to be much nicer. And free medallion start. Zorro didn't check the pedestal to begin with.
A strength upgrade on the boomerang chest. I don't like that. Put that. No. At least Jabu's.
Yeah, it's not bad when you know it.
Yeah, and we've got.
Chest is only bad when you don't know it.
And we've got a Jabu medallion, so that feels less bad. A slingshot on chickens as well. So do you do that? I don't know. So the Sung Grave and the target in the woods were junk.
Yeah, the answer on if you do the chickens or slingshot is there anything on the target in the woods? And you immediately get to find out that there's nothing. So I don't imagine we're going to see many chickens today.
No, again, especially because we know we have to do Jabu, so we're going to be picking up a boomerang at some point, which puts the child spirit available.
You might want to get the slingshot for the first room of Jabu, though.
And man on the roof not having much for us today, just some nuts.
More nuts, best to have that at the start, same with the stick upgrades.
Honestly, like when you play it vanilla for the first time, you have no idea how good nuts and sticks are.
That is very true.
I would even go as far as putting nut upgrades and stick upgrades in big chests, but I don't know if everyone else would agree with me.
I don't think I'm that brave.
No, the second you put them in big chests is when you start getting, your You put them they end up at the top of Fire Temple just to beat you up there.
Song of Time in the windmill too.
It's not an ideal song to find early. Maybe you want something that gives you a little bit more utility. I mean, what are you going to need Song of Time for? It's only, like 3 or 4 checks.
3 or 4 hard lock checks, anyway. It's not to say it's not going to be useful later in the seed. GTG has reared its ugly head many times in Season 6 so far.
Angie's got nothing for us.
Nice little damage strat from Zorro there. I'm not sure if it saved that much time, considering she had to wait for the Poe, but...
It looked like a huge reapee in the affectionately named TARDIS crate. I was told there's a reason why, but as far as I can tell, it's just because it's bigger on the inside. Songs are hard.
Kakariko routes. You'd think there'd be one set route through Kakariko, but everyone has their own flavour.
Do we have any guesses on our race time?
Coming in at 36. If it goes well, I'd say about 48 or 49.
Oh, I didn't realise that. The thing is, like so many of these check names, they're kind of so ingrained in the lore over years and years that they get passed on without ever really knowing where they come from.
And nothing from Dampe today except enough money for a shield. Will we see anyone buying a shield?
I was interested that neither runner went for the heart container that was in the graveyard, in the windmill, and actually Zorro went for the void out rather than playing Song of Time to get back up there and pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, I would have picked up the heart container, but then, I was 140 something as opposed to up 128, so at this skill level, maybe 3 hearts is enough. Then again, Fire Temple is a stone, so there's always the chance you don't need the heat timer at all.
Yeah, that's also a good point. And you tend to pick up heart pieces and containers on the way while you do some of the checks that you can't peek, things like fairy fountains, mini games, etc. And also, until you pick up a bomb bag, runners often do open small chests hoping to find some bomb juice to help them along the way.
Yeah, there are some runners that only pick up easy heart containers at the start if fire is a required dungeon, because each quarter heart gives you an extra 2 seconds.
I'll be honest, even when I've got plenty of health, I still pick up everything because it annoys me to leave stuff lying there. It's just littering. This has been an S6 staple. Early River.
Early River, the hints have been very powerful. Path hints are powerful, there's a lot of sometimes. And sometimes you just pick up Din's Fire.
I mean,
it's a required item. Shadow is required.
And it's one of those things where that can easily be somewhere deep in logic. With the medallion layout, we're probably getting 1 path per dungeon. So when you've got 3 separate individual requirements to get into Shadow, really, there's often you're left wanting for those. Either there's magic lurking somewhere, or you've just no idea where the hover boots can be. But picking up Din's early probably means that it inevitably is going to get Zora's River is on the path to Bongo Bongo, but you might not to, in which case you've got a little bit more information.
Yeah, and there is the chance we'll get 2 hints for 1 path. Well, there's our first path hint of the day, Deku Tree to Twin Rova. So we are dipping at least 1 stone dungeon.
If anyone has stone dungeon hinted path on their bingo card, then you can mark that off.
It's nicer to have Deku Tree hinted instead of Fire Temple as far as our stone dungeons go.
Skull Kid's dead. That's another sometimes hint. We've already got 5 out of 7 of those.
As you said, getting 1 path hint per dungeon. The game does try and give 1 path hint per required dungeon. There is the chance we won't get a Forest Temple path, though, if there are 2 bows, 2 hook shots, and 2 strengths available. And that was Zelda's Lullaby on Burning Cack. That's very interesting, because that means Scale is required, and it's also a Lullaby-less Spirit Temple.
I'd cottoned onto the Lullaby-less Spirit, but I had not figured out that there has to be a scale available, because of course otherwise you logically can't get into Domain. Obviously the runners are probably more than happy just sneaking their way in with a Cuckoo, but
Just to float in with the chicken. Chat bringing up a good point. There could be child spawn in Zora's Domain or the Fountain.
both runners are child now, so what be interested to see how long they stick this before save quitting, or whether they just wouldn't surprise me to see the standard Lon Ranch, Kikiri Forest, SFM route.
Yeah. Well, they have Prelude starts, or not Prelude start, they have Prelude as a song, so you might see them check the child spawn after doing Lon Ranch. But, yeah, you're right. Getting those first 3 songs, the one in the Windmill, the one in Lon, the one in Child Sacred Forest Meadow, songs are very powerful in Ocarina Time Randomizer.
Yeah, the classic 3-song route of Seasons Past doesn't quite exist in the same way. Now that you no longer have to wait out time of day for Zelda and getting the song that way, because it's just given to you at the start, because the community kind of collectively decided that actually that was really boring.
Yeah. Having variants in the opening has definitely helped. Tobias is already trying to curse the seed less than 10 minutes in. There is the possibility that Nocturne of Shadow is on the Ocarina of Time. Nothing to stop that happening. With Deku Tree, Dodongo's Cavern, and Fire Temple as your and Fire Temple as your stone dungeons. All dungeons doesn't have that huge a number of required items. So it's definitely possible.
Sun Song in Lon Ranch, which again, early, not necessarily good unless you find out that you're going to need to be collecting skulls, in which case early Sun Song is really nice. Sorry, I can't see. Molly, would you mind getting off my desk, please?
Just put the cat on comms instead.
Alright, Molly, you're up.
Now this is a stream.
Chat came for the cats, not for us.
Anything in Lonlon today? There's a bomb bag in Lonlon
wow.
Ranch. That's definitely going to be helpful. It's in a nice place, everyone's going to check that tower.
Yeah, you never quite appreciate how much is bomb locked until you play a seed where there's no bomb bag and you don't have any bomb juice. And it's like, this is nightmare.
Looks like Spike is going to be walking out of the ranch.
If enough people join the Discord, I will post pictures of cats in the cute and culinary channel.
Quick device, post the Discord link. Volunteers, where's volunteers? Okay, Spike is warping back to the Temple of Time. Is this faster than just walking out of the... Or
It is if you...
Night Market straight away?
Yeah, if you've got Sun Song to change the time of day, do it now before you forget about it. You've got the bomb bag as well, so that gets Bomb Tube Bowling ticked off the list.
That is true, he does have 94 rupees. They both have 94 rupees.
That's a strangely specific amount.
Well, it's 5 less after doing Talon, so it makes sense. So we're doing probably the more traditional check and child spawn as soon as after. As soon as finishing Lon Ranch. Spike taking the advantage of the Sun Song, though, to get an extra 2 Skulltulas from Lon Ranch. It's a Goron City spawn.
Okay.
It's very helpful having those bomb bags straight away. It's also
That's
good
GC
access.
from Gakiri Forest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also good access for the Sirius song check.
Oh, bowling had nothing.
Yeah, unfortunately this trip to market hasn't paid out. But Spike will be heading straight to Goron City as well.
S6 has been called by many knowledgeable people, and also me, the season of child Goron City, and having that spawn there, you're not going to forget to check it.
I don't think anyone forgets to check it. I think it's just nobody wants to try and route it in. So, having it easily available.
Especially if you don't get the right warp songs, it can be a nightmare to try and find a way to weave it in there.
Tobias has picked the correct person to give the sound to, with the moo as the low health noise.
And there's a hook shot.
There is one hook shot.
That is very handy.
Some lap
Hovers on
dive.
diving.
So if scale wasn't paths before, scale definitely is now.
Yeah, logically, you have to have gold scale to do that. In actuality, if you have iron boots, you can get that done. But having the hovers individually hinted means that we're not going to... I was going to say means we're not going to see a Lake Hylia path to Bongo. We still might, but if we do, it's not going to be for those hover boots. It'll have to be for something else.
And that, the Medigoron hint is an easy one to skip past, as Zorro has done. But Zorro will be coming back as an adult, so we'll check it then.
Frog's 2 dead was the hint in here. I missed it first time round. Ginger, please tell me more about this 4-hour Hell Seed, so I know what not to hope for here.
Would that be Season 5 settings?
I feel like there was a bit less of that in Season 5 with Foolish Hints, just because
Yeah, foolish hints.
when you were searching,
Or a skip.
when you were in... Yeah, when you had... Oh, KZ Sip, it's true. But when you had those casinos, because of the Foolish Hints, you just had fewer areas to check.
Yeah. Death Mountain Trail has
And
our
the
bow.
bow.
So, we are a strength and a song away from Forest Temple, from our first dungeon being completable. Or our first first medallion dungeon being completable.
And there's a claim check. We've not seen a big Goron hint yet, so why not? So, something to be aware of, and actually, having the claim check is really nice. A, because obviously it's the last item in the quest, but B, because it means you don't have to have access to Unfreezing King Zorro logically. And if you save quit, you're going to stay on the...
Sacred Forest Meadow is path to Bongo Bongo, I believe that was.
And that was a vanilla minuet. Excuse me, not vanilla. Same
French
location.
vanilla.
Same location,
I
7 years.
I think we can
Just 7
guess
years too early.
yeah, I think we can guess what's on the minuet check though.
It would be, I think, a surprise at this point if the minuet check doesn't yield you Nocturne. But if
Hey,
it gives you something
never
else,
know.
then
maybe it's Song of Storms for magic in the well.
maybe it's Saria's and there's something in Forest Temple. Who knows? 40 Skulls is dead.
Well, the minuet was on the Saria's song, not the vanilla, so it's okay. But there's our Sun song is dead. I believe that was already hinted, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
And Team Never
We
Buy
have-
a Shield, you win today.
They get
I
to
mean-
keep their hard-earned money.
Technically, they did buy a shield.
I go a little loaded today. With a mirror shield?
There's a mirror shield. Double not buying a shield.
And iron boots.
Iron boots.
Wow.
Okay, so those hovers are now accessible. Not logically, but they are accessible.
That's big. Also, picking up the mirror shield there is really nice because it gives us a bit more of an idea of what we're expecting to find in the Deku tree, which is probably a strength upgrade, you reckon, at this point, or something for logical crossing.
What was Deku Twin Rover again? Yeah, it could be a strength. Could be a hammer if Ocarina Time is Requiem, if the game wants to be nasty.
You were saying?
There's another bow on Kakiri's sword.
Ocarina of
So
Time
bow,
is
not puff.
Requiem.
This is the old Schrodinger's all dungeons. It both is and isn't all dungeons until you clear Spirit.
It is slightly above 50%, I believe. Slightly.
Really?
Yeah.
Logically.
Hard, often, is you have 2 checks, child locked, and you have 2 checks in the first adult side before the key. So, if you have your first key on child side, I think that's about 33% chance that you're hard locked straight away.
I'll trust your maths.
I don't know why you'd do that, but trick is to say it with confidence. Nobody checks your maths.
Could this possibly be a lab play from Zorro?
Possibly. With the hookshot, you've got a decent number of things you can do. Hookshots with Minuet, you could see a courtyard play. Strengthless Forest isn't an awful trip because you have to do the courtyard anyway.
Yeah, at the very least, go to Forest and check the song because you could end up with Serenade and just get an easy pass there.
Very true. Speaking of,
I'll put the spoiler log away.
There we go. Okay, so
That does confirm Minuet path.
Yeah, Minuet is the only thing that can be path. So I guess we're gonna get magic in what? Magic in Forest? Yeah, I was about to say either that or magic is Zelda's Lullaby locked, but can you have a Zelda's Lullaby-less, magicless spirit? Quick chat. How does spirit key logic work? Can you get a Zelda's Lullaby-less, magicless?
I don't think so.
I would think no, but maybe there's the possibility.
I think you might do, but you might have to have Child Spirit hard required, which is not necessarily any better in this case.
Yeah. It could be Nocturne Preludes, as chat says, but that alone wouldn't explain why Minuet is path. The Forest Temple is the Fire Medallion and not the Forest Medallion.
Zorro missing the Link the Goron snipe there, but actually works out quite nicely for them because while they wait for the man to come round, I say man, I actually don't know if Gorons have the same gender notions that we do, but a good opportunity for her to check the check Midi Goron and find out where her hover boots are.
Oh, yep, chat pointing out something very good point there regarding all dungeons. You need a key in the first 2 chests in Adult Side Spirit to not require Requiem, but one of those is Zelda's Lullaby locked. So if there isn't a key in the Boulder Room, it's all dungeons.
Oh my god, that is so much worse.
So yeah, I'm not sure I'd even visit Spirit Temple. I might just, if I were playing, I would just be pushing all dungeons straight away. You have the knowledge that everything hinges on that one chest.
We are 20% of the way to mean percent because we have now seen the winner Piece of Heart from Link the Goron.
I didn't see what that was. It looked shiny though, so
I trust you, Beans.
yeah, I'll trust you with that. My general rule of thumb is if it's shiny, it's probably not required.
But which feels so counterintuitive. I
Yeah.
like the shiny things. There's a horse, by the way, in the crater.
That was another heart in the wall of the crater, so not heading up.
This seed, I think, has what I look for in a seed, in that it's not necessarily one of those 50 skulls, everything's going to be a slog 4-hour hell seeds, which sometimes are nice, but actually for the runners it can be just incredibly frustrating. But there is some it looks like we've got some interesting, I'm not going to call it logical spaghetti yet, but some sort of logical noodles that are...
I mean, Benji, you say that, but we have a high chance of it being AD with Requiem on Ocarina of Time, and we don't have
Right.
the 50 hit, so...
True.
I don't
But
know
at
if
least...
you were intentionally trying to jinx things, but...
Right, but at least we know it's all dungeons now, rather than finding out, 3 hours in when you finally get the light arrows in from Ganondorf, and he's put the light arrows in the Sun Song grave with suns on AD.
Zorro messing up the angle slightly there and not picking up that claim check. But the Bigoron is an always hint, so I guess she's just skipping it until she gets the Bigoron hint.
General Hayes, the Challenge Cup uses the S6 settings, which are exactly the same as standard settings, with the only exception being that King's Aura Skip is banned, and there's your Bigoron dead hint.
It's the Bigoron dead hint. It was a good choice not to go back up to pick up the check.
And time for a nap. Right, step 4, step 4. Our first one.
First Forest Temple of the day.
I don't hate this from Spike, especially now that he's probably... Well, I say probably. We'll assume he's worked out that Minuet has to be path.
Yeah.
But, just going to pick up the key and bail after getting that skull.
I wouldn't say it's a bad play to do the rest of the courtyard, because Strengthless Forest isn't bad, because you're going to need to do the courtyard at some point anyway, and there's always the chance that you find a strength in Forest Temple.
Yeah, we
And
know
if that's
that
the
one...
case, then you can just keep going.
Yeah, we know that there's one on... I guess maybe he's thinking there's one hinted on the Rang chest, and sounds like the other one could well be in Deku Tree, although we're still not quite sure about that yet. So... maybe just thinking, I'll save this for a later point, and I imagine this is Spike going to pick up the hover boots. It's slightly annoying from Spike's perspective as well that he didn't get Serenader's child, because then you can come here and also begin to and set Child Scarecrow to come and finish that off later.
That is true. this is the trick. Yeah. The game wants you to swim to the bottom of the aquarium with the gold scale, but if you hookshot your way to the crate at the bottom and take the boots off while you're in momentum, or while you're in movement, it will decide that you are swimming and on the ground, therefore you swam there. And Dodongo's cavern is stacked.
With a slingshot?
There's your slingshot. That means I highly doubt anyone will be seeing chickens today.
I don't think we actually had the chickens bet today, so chat can't even enrich themselves on that. Also, chickens is fine now. It's only 4.
And the
there is
scale.
Skill 1.
Bomb-locked scale. Oh wait.
Potentially bomb locked, but
So far, yeah.
yeah. If it's bombs or scale. No, it's bombs or strength 1 or a hammer.
Or
Okay, that one.
or Din's fire and magic.
You still need the strength or bombs to get through the first room.
Really low. There's our magic.
And there's our magic, which makes the minuet concerning to me. What's minuet path for? Minuet path for something to get Zelda's Lullaby, to get Nocturne on either Ice Cavern or in the graveyard. 2 songs are Zelda's Lullaby locked. So 2 songs are locked behind. So 3 songs are locked behind forest, fire, and water medallions. So
Rutos or a boomerang then maybe?
Yeah, or the hammer. Something for all dungeons.
There's another combat.
That is another bomb leg.
That is bomb locked.
Right.
Bomb or hammer locked.
I see there's a gambler in chat.
There is a gamble in chat.
Who finds Ruto's letter first? Where is the Tobias option?
Lon Ranch path to Phantom Ganon. I guess those ones are bomb locked.
And there's a t-shirt too. I think that's the Open Prado. Sure is.
That's the freshly laundered t-shirt.
Yeah, and with that Lon Ranch to Phantom Ganon hint, with the bombs being in Lon Ranch, makes me think that there's very likely to be a hammer in Forest Temple.
Yeah, so that we've cleared out Phantom Ganon. We've cleared out Lon Ranch. The song was Suns, and we know that the Sun's grave is nothing, so we know that it has to be bombs as the path. And so bombs somehow lock our forest kit. They don't lock the songs because we were just able to pick up Minuet as child. And the hookshot we picked.
More importantly, that second bomb bag we just picked up has to be bomb locked, which means
It
that
does, yes.
the hammer is bomb locked.
Seed's beginning to come into place yet. Now this is Spike's second forest temple dip.
Yes, chat bringing up a good point that, you know, a bomb bag being path gives you information, but so much of the game is bomb locked. You know that the hammer is going to be bomb locked. So much of the game is bomb locked that you're only getting a small amount of information from that.
We picked up the hookshot in the Goron City maze. So, and the way of picking that up are with bombs. So that would satisfy that, or alternatively with strength 2. So it's highly possible that our strengths are bomb locked as well.
victory.
And some more cheese.
It's always typical that the seeds where you get early bombs, you find lots of chews.
Chat saying they have opponents. I believe one of them, at least one, has opponents. It was opponent in
Yes.
the crater.
That is correct.
I
think
don't
that was
remember who
Zorro picked it
got
up.
that though.
Zorro?
I don't think Zorro has been to crater yet. Spike definitely picked it up.
And 32 minutes.
I trust you, Beans.
32 minutes in, and we have double forest.
It's alright, we won't be here for much longer.
Do you know what's going to be great? The fact that they're both doing strengthless forest. There's a decent chance that we're going to get double forest.
Ho ho.
Oh, are we ready, chat? Are we ready for the double forest? Double the forest, double the nap.
It's not sextuple forest, so this is fine. That's 10 skulls for Spike.
First to 10, that little sun song dip in Lon Ranch paying off. Well, depending on how quickly he turns it in. You know, Nocturne is pretty deep in logic, so Kakariko isn't really the most accessible location. Skull hints. We have one skull hint. It's for 40 skulls and it is dead. But 30 and 50 are still out there somewhere. And with this being all dungeons, or very likely all dungeons, there's quite a lot of items left for us to find.
That's a nice strat there from Spike, using the hover boots and then the jump slash to pick up the skull as he gets over to the ledge.
It is a deceptive.
There's our hammer.
There's the hammer, as expected in Forest.
That is bomb locked from what we've seen, because you need to have the bombs to pick up the hook shot to get in here.
Yes, that's correct. I forgot where the hook shot was for a second.
Also, Beans, you're coming through a lot clearer now, which is great.
Good deal. And it looks like I was wrong. It looks like Zorro is the one who has opponents. And was our brother who checked Crater for us. So my apologies.
Yeah. I'll believe it. I'll believe the trackers. The trackers are here to make the commentators look good. So. Gudrun in the chat. I mean, honestly, it's slander saying that Valley Lake is bad. Apparently, every person that has done Valley Lake play in the brackets has lost so far, which means it's Valley Lake's time to shine today. It means you should do it.
No, everyone knows that correlation absolutely implies causation.
Yeah, ice cream causes drowning.
Wait, what?
Ice cream causes drowning. If you look at the sales of ice cream and the stats of open water drownings, they go up at the same rate.
Okay, that's genuinely quite interesting.
I'm going to take your word for it.
The point is that ice cream sales go up when the weather is warmer and people go open water swimming when it's warmer. The real truth is that ice cream causes drowning.
Don't bring your logic in here. We've got a command for that. Thanks, Tobias.
Epona's song was in the crater. It looks like Spike will be picking that up very shortly.
But not after checking what the hammer rocks are here. And actually, with the Goron tunic, with the hammer, with bombs, with a bow, with hovers, Spike can just full clear fire. I know that logically he needs a strength to get right up into deep fire, but again, logic, yeah.
What is that word?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd be dipping fire with 3 hearts.
Got a Goron tunic.
Did we get the door on tunic? I did
Spike
not.
did get a
Yes.
Goron tunic from the open grotto.
Ah, there isn't a Goron tunic in the tracker. Right. I was thinking there wasn't one on it. There is a tracker.
But it's in the note sheet.
Yeah, but I have to tilt my head. I have to turn my head to see that.
Skill
I
issue.
have two. I've got one in front of me on a piece of paper, and I've got one on my other screen.
Bean's keeping it old school with the paper notes. I must admit, sometimes I've got a notebook which has years of various notes. It's got like all my notes from my history of sports broadcasting lectures for my masters, but it's also got before I found a tracker that worked properly on Mac. It has all my Triforce Blitz notes in there.
I have still
like
yet to
it.
find a decent Mac tracker.
I recommend. I found that Hash Frog, which is El Wafo and Tanjo's doing, is a really good web tracker.
Based option, yeah.
And
I've been using Track OOT on web.
Yeah, Track OOT is one that adds a map in. Hashfrog is just for... It does have a map tracker in it. I've never used it, though.
I just want one that has an auto tracker feature that syncs up with my games. When I pick up stuff, it auto tracks it for me.
Alas, they are banned. You will go to jail.
they're banned for racing, yes, but casually do what you want. I'm not your dad.
Oh, there's no way I'm racing. I've still yet to finish a randomizer seed.
Have we seen the Hyrule Castle hints? I don't think I saw.
Not
We
two.
have not.
We
I
are
must
still
admit-
missing one path.
I really like picking up Hyrule Castle 2. It takes, 20 seconds? And you could potentially find some key information. Or you can just find out that Skullmask is dead.
I usually go river at the start, which puts you in nighttime, and then you use the time you need to. You need it to be day to leave the Hyrule Castle, so.
Hang on a minute.
Nighttime period.
Both
think-
Skullmask is dead hints were Hyrule Castle.
Wow.
Well, that's out of the way. It would be the first time Skullmask hints were both in an awkward location. Unlike both qualifiers where that happened, it's not anything interesting.
Zorro appears to be bored and decided to take a break and go fishing.
I think it is widely accepted that the best part of every game is the fishing minigame.
Yeah. Agreed. I can't think of a bad fishing minigame.
Any particular favourites?
Nah.
As long as you get to fish, you don't mind.
Yeah, you put me on the spot. I just enjoy fishing.
I quite enjoyed the one in the latest Kirby game. What's it called? The Forgotten Land. That was basic enough, and you get some ridiculously big fish, which is good.
I don't know if it's considered a mini game, but I always like the We Play Fishing.
We play fishing. That's great.
I'm trying to remember it. This is really bad. I can't.
Well, it's like paper fish. They're all 2D. And piece of heart in the Ruto's leisure spots. Zorro has checked Scarecrow and will be heading into the main. So it's a very smooth route when you've got a scale and serenade.
And this is
To
the
your
only.
point earlier about Spike would have preferred to have the serenade as a child.
We know this is the only way we can logically get in as well, because
Exactly.
Goron City, because Zelda's Lullaby is behind Jabu. I just said Goron City because the Goron City hammer chest is nothing, which I think that's what that was.
Yeah, that's a slight amount of time. Zorro will save, not checking that. Spike did go and do that. That is our last sometimes hint as well.
We're missing the part, so we're missing one path and 30 and 50 skulls.
The longer that 50 skull hint eludes us, the scarier it gets. What if this is the 50 skull boomerang?
Please no.
That's just cruel and that's just cruel. We'll just go with that.
Yeah, it's just cruel. There's not. I can't really argue with that. It's like that. I mean, people. Skull seeds are interesting because some people just they see 50 skulls and they're just like, nah, I'm not interested. But there is a real art to routing in your skulls efficiently to try and minimize the time it takes.
Oh, it doesn't matter how much you like skulls. Boomerang on 50 is always awful because boomerang locks so many of your skulls.
First hook also bad, but that's a lot rarer because usually you can get the other one.
And it is this domain.
And there's a strength upgrade for us.
I believe that was bomb locked scale, wasn't it?
It was in DC in the bomb bag chest?
Yes, so with strength 1 and hammer both being bomb locked, you need that bomb bag to get into Dodongo's cavern at all. So that would be a bomb locked scale, which means that is our first logical. And that is big for Zorro. That is... Spike is spending the time doing progress on a... Yeah, spending time doing progress but out of logic. Zorro is on the track the game wants her to play.
This is also increasing the chances that the item in Deku might just be something for crossing, so lens potentially, or I guess theoretically it could also be the other hook shot with the long shot logically being required for spirit key logic.
I wouldn't have thought crossing would be a likely option, because that would mean an AD item would be in spirit. Spirit would have to have an item. I think more likely there's going to be a boomerang or Ruto's letter in Deku.
Something for your AD kit.
Yeah. Or strength 2. Could always be that.
I don't think it can be that because we know where the other strength is, right? It's in.
Oh yeah, there's one in Jabu, isn't it?
So, and that's not strength 2 locked, as far as we can tell.
Okay, unless there's Ruto's letter in GTG. There's always the option for this to get worse, Benjy.
Yeah, despite going through the worst room in the game.
You never have the worst seed. Seed can always get worse.
And just a piece of heart for the real lunker.
But lifesaver to all of our ears. Yes, bye Moo.
Oh, was that the low heart sound on Zorro's side?
Yeah,
sure is.
Did you not tell from the chorus of moos in the chat?
I mean, I could see them all in chat, and I just assumed chat was having a moment.
Yeah,
like we've all been there.
Chat things.
It's all right. Moo will be back.
Spike has committed to AD at this point. Dipping straight back to the bottom of fire after picking up that boss key. He knows. He's accepted his fate.
Also, I'm going to say this now while I remember. Anyone who's working on some clever Zuta stuff in a dev branch, please add the Hylian Loach as a check. Not for main settings. I just think it's funny.
He's key locked. Oh, is Pierre a key then? Being burnt by the Scarecrow once again.
Yeah, Zorro set that, so once they successfully cheese the lab dive, which I can hear that they have done, I imagine they'll be straight off to fire because they can logically full clear it.
It's a bit of a trek to get to fire, but
Oh right, we don't have Bolero. I forget that you don't just have all the warp songs.
yeah, you're getting too.
It would
too
be
caught,
nice.
like me. Free Scarecrow.
Free
Quality of
Scarecrow.
life. But it looks like Zorro is deciding to full clear forest instead, which
It makes sense. You have the whole
Yep.
kit for it.
And it's
Exactly.
progression.
It's progression, not just towards Ganon, but progression towards Zelda's Lullaby as well.
Ooh, has Spike miscounted or did he get troll hold?
I think there was some level of troll holing.
For those
Volvagia.
who not quite sure what we mean, the way that Volvagia is coded is that she has 2 hitboxes. The one you can see,
Volvagias.
yeah, basically, there's one that you can see, and there's one that's hidden underneath. And so by bombing that first hole, essentially you're damaging the other hitbox while Volvagia is waiting to come out. So that reduces the number of hits you actually need.
They play a little trick on us by having 2 Volvagias. One is the one that flies around, and one is the one that pops out. Each has their own hitbox, because you can shoot Volvagia with arrows. So if you bomb the last hole
Another
that she
shield.
went into, you really shouldn't buy a shield this seed.
I've maintained this
Yeah, that's two Hylians and 1
mirror.
shield, so we've got them all.
The mirror shield, which does not reflect projectiles, by the way. What the hell? What's that all about?
Hey, it does. You know the eye in Shadow Temple that shoots the
Yes.
flame out? It does bounce that.
Oh, really?
Really?
Don't think it can damage enemies, but it does bounce it.
Because it doesn't reflect back Octoroks and things like that.
Oh, it explodes. It explodes nuts and rocks because it is too powerful.
And that
Learn
must be
something
it,
new
yeah.
every day.
With Volvagia, there's also bomb chew strats you can do, which I guess is the same principle. You just fire loads of bomb chews at that hole, and Volvagia gets a lot of damage very quickly.
30
That was
skulls
30
are
skulls
magic
for
meter.
magic.
Well, Spike hasn't found the other magic yet, so for him that might well seem like a worthwhile time investment.
So unless there's a boomerang or a Ruto's letter in
And that was
the
a
rest of
Baronade.
Forest here,
Death
Yeah,
Mountain past the
DMC
Baronade.
DMC to Baronade. I mean, firstly, nice place for it. Secondly, the only thing we found here was, I mean, it has to be opponent because we know that it can't be on the fountain, on the fairy fountain, because the fairy fountain is obviously ZL locked and Zelda's Lullaby is behind Jabu.
yeah.
So our options there, big Pogs or probably get yourself over to GTG.
Could always be everyone's favourite horseback archery 1500.
That is true. At the very least, you're going to need to cross that bridge. It also lets us know that the long shots, if we assume that it's to get over there, that the long shot is also behind Epona. Unless it is just on horseback archery.
Yeah, but if we're saying that Jabu is across there, then that means anything that is over there, as well as Zelda's Lullaby, you're opening up a lot of possible long-shot checks at that point. Could be Jabu itself.
My brain hurts.
Yep, that's what happens when Zelda's Lullaby is deep in logic. All of a sudden, your paths all point one direction, and once you've got that lullaby, well, you have a lot of stuff to check.
I'll tell you what this might do, though. It might put their second strength in the Deku tree. Because it increases the chances that Ruto's letter is actually strength 2 locked to pick up the third strength.
Yep, that's perfectly possible as well. These are horrible options, and the more we think about it, the more horrible it gets. I mean, Longshot could be in Shadow. You know, Shadow is Zelda's Lullaby locked.
Why would you even throw that idea out there?
Honestly, that's one of the less bad options, because you have to do Shadow anyway.
At the very least, it's a bit of a brain teaser. I like it. Spike is definitely going hard on rooting in the skulls because they were an adult and they didn't go and clear Dodongo's cavern.
No.
Which surprises me, because if you were committing to all dungeons, I think you'd do that, and then you'd find your magic.
But then, yeah, you would want to root that in right after fire, because without Bolero and without Nocturne, you know, that's weird to say. Dodongo's cavern is a hard dungeon to access.
Also, doesn't have a scale, so can't get into domain and pick up the strength.
Yeah.
At least can't get into domain from this side.
Can't exactly get it from the other side either. It's ZO locked.
Where's the...
At least that logic.
Where's the logic not even as good?
Who needs logic when you have chickens?
Speaking of Zelda Lullaby locks, it could always be Vanilla Longshot. And Zelda's Lullaby locked.
Where is the vanilla longshot? It's on Dark Link, right?
On Dark Link, yep. We're running lower and lower on checks in Forest. What does that mean?
I think I would like to see Longshot on Goma with K Sword. Yeah, with K Sword on Marinade. And there's our third bomb bag.
That is bomb percent. Oh, that's true. We do have a fire temple path, and we've not seen anything useful there yet.
Yeah. Spike is unfortunately being burnt a little here by not having the Scarecrow's song as soon as Zorro will have. Does that mean Zorro gets to do all of fire in one trip? And since Bolero is probably Zelda's Lullaby locked, that's going to be a long walk for Spike. Fox, surprised if someone would try to avoid AD with that fire path. I highly doubt anyone's going to be trying to avoid AD at this point. I mean, I guess DC is just a when available do it.
Yeah, the logical requirements for the Dodongo's Cavern are relatively minor compared to lots of dungeons.
Oh, Zorro is being fooled. fooled by Meg.
Oh, I forgot to do my bit. I'll do it when Spike comes back to Forest.
Sponge, we haven't been to Deku. How do we know? How do we know that the third stone is the Deku tree?
I mean,
You never know. This might be the one seed where the mistake was made.
I'll be honest. If it's not a vanilla Kakiri Emerald, I'm.
Yeah, this is randomized. It's not supposed to be the Kiri Emerald there.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So we must have made a mistake somewhere.
I don't know if I saw Zorro peeking the chest here.
I guess you have to press all the switches anyway.
Spike could be putting off DC, hoping to go mode it. I mean, he has bombs. You can go mode DC.
But I think properly go mode. Well, he's got bomb chews, I guess, so could just
Yeah.
can do that. But I think just feeling I don't want to have to check anything here because that's a few minutes that I can save by just going in, blowing up the eyes, and going straight down.
Yeah.
Whereas we actually know that it's going to take him a lot more time because he's going to be picking up all these skulls to try and get the magic that is just sitting there in DC.
And one last check in Forest Temple to see whether it's the hammer.
We've got the hammer.
Yeah, we all hit him. I was gonna say.
Well, I mean, the whatever this minuet locked item is.
Oh, the path item. Right, sorry, I'm with you. I'm with you.
We know that something is in forest, otherwise minuet wouldn't be path. The only thing we've got is the hammer, so unless we get a boomerang or a strength on Phantom Ganon. Nice. Oh, almost get the 0.
Just missed.
Swag strat I haven't actually seen in Season 6 yet. Or at least not the Challenge Cup.
And Zorro with a more devastating return than Andy Murray. I'm not just saying that because we've got a Scott on comms.
And he has... Oh, the suspense. The suspense. The reveal
Ah.
is a blue ruby.
For a bloopy.
Okay,
And
so
happy 1 hour, everybody.
Oh my god, it
happy
is.
1 hour.
That came super quick.
Benji, you've done this more often. Where are the commands?
Thank you to Kalo and Killer Beans jumping into the commentary booth with me today. An absolute pleasure. First time in a while for Killer Beans, so great to have you back alongside us.
Great to be back.
Our trackers are Emerald Mousy and Ginger and Shay, who I very nearly missed off because they don't have a Twitch linked for some reason. But they make us look infinitely smarter than we actually are, so huge thank you for that. Of course, there's nothing for us to commentate and nothing for anyone to track without the runners. So Spikevegeta and Zorro, highly recommend giving them both a follow. Zorro for kind of more focused OoT content, and Spike for a little bit of everything as well. Great variety streamer. Our race monitors today is Ginger as well, putting a little bit of double duty, and hopefully, for Ginger's sake, race monitor doesn't. They won't actually have to do anything because there'll be nothing of note that happens with restreams and stuff like that. It just like everything goes, no FPA.
That
We'll see.
check just said chickens for slingshot.
Yes.
Just say it.
Yeah, we saw that at the TOT.
One last thank you, Tobias, our restreamer, making the picture appear on the screen.
Oh,
Yes, but in the snazzy new layout as well.
It's true, in our nice new Challenge Cup layout, including putting the stats on at the start.
It's great, isn't it? We feel like we've gone into the 21st century.
Remember to give Tobias a Twitch follow. He is an Ocarina of Time runner. Races.
and legend.
And we have so many restreams coming up in the next few days. Next up on stream is Friday evening, so you can settle down with a glass of whatever takes your fancy and dig in for Emo Soda versus Stuckman. And we've got races coming up, more Challenge Cup on Saturday and Sunday. And also on Sunday, we have... there's the path item, long shot. So that's a simple enough path to Morpher.
That's a nice easy path to Morpher there.
And that is bomb locked.
It is indeed bomb locked.
Yeah.
Two locked as well.
And speaking of the upcoming races, I am highly considering signing up for the 4 a.m. race on Saturday.
Oh, I was going to say, we don't have a race at 4 a.m. on Saturday, but we do have a race on 4 a.m. on Saturday because time zones exist. Yeah. Hyper, who came top of a really competitive group with Alexis, Jimbo, and Has Coffee. They are in Australia. So, so makes scheduling things a little bit more difficult, but you are right in that we do their first brackets race in Challenge Cup is on Saturday morning. That is against I've got the list here somewhere. I just want to... it is Sanzo. I don't know why I doubted myself. Yeah, so that's 9 a.m. UTC on Saturday morning. So that's 4 a.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. Pacific, 10 o'clock Central European. We've got Krez versus Majarkin also on Saturday, but in the evening. That's 7 o'clock UTC. You can do all the time sorting out yourselves. And we are streaming Game 2 of the Multi-World semi-finals between Snack Pack and the Highest Gorons on Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock. And if you've never watched any Multi-World before, it is thoroughly entertaining and also a little bit brain-melting, but I'm very much looking forward to giving it a go on commentary for the first time. So there's so much coming up on the Silver Gauntlets, and more stuff will keep being added as well throughout Challenge Cup. So I highly recommend, if you're for some reason you're not already, giving the Silver Gauntlets a follow. You can hop into the Discord as well because events get made whenever we have restreams coming up, and just watch more good Zoota content pumped. I was going to say directly into your eyeballs, not literally, obviously, that would be weird, but you get the picture.
And here's
While
a
we were
t-shirt for
speaking
Zorro.
there, yeah, Zorro did not go into Fire Temple, most likely due to only having 4 hearts, no bottle, no tunic, and probably not the time she was wanting to see that shirt directly after she left the crater, but it does mean fire is an option for her again.
Spike is going to be really devastated if he will go to open the chest at the top to find his magic.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be very surprised if Spike doesn't peek it, sees the big chest, and be like, well, you've got to, when you see the big chest, you can't not pick it up.
He's done very good skull routing though, so it's not like he's lost a huge amount of time getting up to 20.
Oh, apparently chat has the lowdown that Spike has not necessarily always picked up that chest, so...
Oh no.
Oh, did that have a big item in one of their group races? Spike went 2-1 in the groups. They beat Jack Astronomy and Majarkin, I think, and lost to Rahylia. And I know that they were missing a key that they just orphaned a check somewhere, and it could have been that one.
Yeah, I do seem to remember Spike did 2 of his group races, one after the other, which is it's an interesting way to get through your groups, to do them all on one day, but
I kind of see it makes sense for Spike, especially because Spike does does quite a lot of variety on their stream. That sometimes, if rather than schedule them throughout, you kind of say, okay, this is I want to be in the right zone, so I have a day where I can just concentrate on zooting rather than playing Zooter in the morning and then doing some MMR in the afternoon or whatever.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, Spike beat Majarkin. Oh, hang on, because they're Spike and Majarkin both finished 2-1 in their group, and Jax and Rahylia both finished 1 and 2.
Zorro with a rare visit to the boys.
Yeah, this sets the walk point upon your untimely demise back up there.
Even on your timely demises. Not checking the waterfall though. I don't know if
Surely they saw it on the way down. Yeah.
It's been something shiny because I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either, but the fact that they've not gone to pick it up leads me to believe that it was nothing important. So after a brief mooing,
Spike realizing how stacked Dodongo's cavern is.
There's your slingshot.
that we won't need, because we know Target in the Woods is dead, and these runners are not going to use their slingshot in the Deku Tree. I will tell you that for naught.
Yep, and they're not going to use the slingshot in Jabu either, because we know what the one non-boomerang check in that is.
Here's the big question of the stream. Will Spike get his magic?
The other big question, will he bomb the chest?
Yes, he will.
Zorro being the first to start chasing that Epuna's path.
To be fair, we're saying that, as it looks, that not coming DC earlier has not necessarily paid off for Spike, because they've spent a lot of time picking up skulls, but we still have not seen a 50 skulls hint yet. So it might be time
true.
well invested. Spike has been a lot more aggressive. I'll start that again. Spike has been a lot more aggressive with their routing of skulls than Zorro has so far.
Where was the tunic? That was Open Grotto.
It was.
So we've got a long shot. So horseback archery is probably got our whatever to barricade. It can't be for access. Long shot in fire.
Yeah, that's true. That's not at all locked by opponents. Drop a 1690 for the fans. Come on, Zorro. 1570, but more than enough.
1570 though.
Made that look easy. And let me tell you, it is not.
And that explains why we're going. That explains. Oh,
Wow!
yeah, it's definitely path to horseback archery.
Epona's path for horseback archery. What was on horseback archery? Was it Ruto's letter or boomerang? Yes.
You know what's going to be awful? You know what would be the exact thing that would happen to me there is to hit a 1480, get the boomerang, and think, fuck it, that'll do. I guarantee I would do that in this lead.
So 1500 is a sometimes hit in these settings. We've not had it in this race, but I think with runners of this with this quality, like usually you back yourself to be hitting 1500 all the time. Like you're not. Surely you wouldn't leave that, would you?
I probably wouldn't, but only me one time that I would do it, I would bail. It would be the
I was working away a couple of weeks ago, and I rolled myself a seed to get on with while other stuff was happening in the background, and I could not, for the first day, I could not get my controller to connect, so I had to play on keyboard. Turns out horseback archery on a keyboard, very difficult.
Yeah, it sounds a little tricky.
All the checks that I couldn't do because I was on keyboard, which were those and adult shooting, turned out to be 2 bomb bags and strength 2. So thanks, keyboard.
Oh,
Now, here's the
sounds
interesting
lovely.
thing, is that Zorro is now able to get that Snuff's Lullaby. This seed
by
is
the-
basically opened all the way up for...
Yep, that pays off the prediction as well. So Zorro, the slight underdog in the prediction, making some bank. I see Sadie has found out about the Valley Lake coffee pasta.
Zorro narrowly avoiding breaking her neck.
It's alright, only does like 1 heart.
Yep. And does 20 pay out? 20 definitely pays out.
Yeah,
There's
20
our
pays
three
out.
swords.
Entirely unhinted.
Zorro is at... Zorro needs that for Zelda's Lullaby. Still at 11? I'm not sure how up to date the tracker is.
Yeah, that's it's easy to leave there, isn't it? Especially because you've got the magic from 30 and we've not seen 50 yet. Deku is path to Twin Rover. What's in there is an interesting question because we now know.
Strength at this point, because we know all
But-
our Zelda Lullaby items.
But the 2 strengths we've got aren't. We've got 3 available strengths,
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about the one in Jabu.
and it's not long shot for Spirit Key logic. It's not magic because we know where magic is, and it's not a fire source because we've got that because Din's fire's in Zora's River. So
Ah, a second scale. The only thing that's required in this seed. Wayfaring Fox in the chat, cracking the puzzle.
fire was hovers locked. Oh, interesting.
Hover's locked, so a second skill was required for that. Hover boots in Lab Dive.
So Spike might not be happy if he only finds the second strength here. But again, but the way the seed's looking, we're expecting to have to complete all dungeons anyway, so it's not really too much time lost.
Well, I mean, if the Deku tree has the hover boots, then that's confirmed it's all dungeons. There's no other reason for hovers to be path other than completing fire.
This seed is been interesting.
Yeah, it's been awkward. It's been very awkward, but there's not been much awful. As long as you do your skulls, the hints have pointed them in the right direction for each of the awkward things.
And the 50 hint is still out there somewhere. There's got to be 2 copies of it.
Yeah, at this point, I think unless it's light arrows, there's very little that it could be.
A little that would interest us, at least.
No. Oh, chat thinking small. Chat thinking small with the 50 skull lights. Let's go. No. 50 skull strength 3.
Yeah.
"50 skull lens lights on chest game." Now that's what I'm talking about. This is the kind of big brain plays I'm expecting from chat.
Nah, it's much funnier if the light arrows are in my castle, because then you've got the they might not be strength 3 logs. I might be fine.
No, but if they are, if it's lens on 50, then you have people playing 1 and 32.
That is actually true. Yeah. That would be a really sucky way to lose because your opponent 1 in 32. But then just be better.
Yeah, I was watching Jabu. Have we found anything in Deku yet?
I was also looking at Jabu, which is weird because we know what's in Jabu. That's the silver gauntlets, which we will now ask you to spam in chat.
Oh, right, yes, I am legally obligated to put in the silver gauntlet emo. So there's something on Goma. And if anyone was interested, the dungeon reward cannot be your path item. Path item means there is an item in your dungeon, not the reward for beating it. Jax, that sounds like a skill issue to me.
Luck is a skill. This is so true. The harder you practice, the luckier you get. Tobias, boo. Boo to you, sir.
Tobias, I know kicking you would break the stream. Sacrifice I'm willing to make.
There's the gold scale.
As expected.
Also, for Zorro's perspective, good to see that she's still picking up skulls because we know that she needs them. There's the vanilla dungeon reward. Look, it's all right. We'll let you off with the pun, and we'll just iron out a way to put you in containment later.
14 in Jabu, well 15 by finishing Jabu, can get 4 of the skulls in Fire Temple. 20 isn't far off for Zorro. Especially not with Sun Song. I mean, I don't see her hunting for long for it after finishing Fire.
And 1 hour, 21 minutes into the seed, there's your Ocarina of Time.
Spike being the first to hit it.
Oh look, it's Requiem. What are the chances? I know the chances are 1 in 12. That's not the problem.
And let's see what's on the Colossus. If it's Bolero, that's mean. And
It's Nocturne.
It's Nocturne, and that does make sense. Wait, what was it? It was Sacred Forest Meadow to Bongo. Had Minuet, which led to Hammer, which led to beating fire, which led to the Colossus. So, the lens is in spirit, I would guess. Zelda's
Looks
Lullaby.
that way.
We shall soon find out.
And alas, the dream of 50 Skulls is dead, I think.
Oh, was that the hint? Or did someone have you just worked it out? I'm assuming it
No,
was hinted.
somebody, chat saying, I think I saw 50 listed on the Colossus hint, but I didn't see exactly what it said.
Cat's chat. I did not see what was on the arch.
The
Chat
arch
says
was
Bloopy. There's nothing there. And that's going to be a small chest on the other side, but I can't see the texture on it. It's a key.
So, really, we aren't really missing anything, are we?
Baronade is not playing nice today.
Baronade is such a step up in difficulty compared to the previous bosses. Like King Dodongo, absolute cakewalk. And then Baronade's this really kind of long methodical fight.
Chat, a question in chat there. Does Spike have any chance of pulling this back? He looks pretty far behind. Not hugely.
I don't.
If you check the dungeon rewards, he's got both of the stones. It's required. The all dungeons is required. So. Purple, 80% this is going to be all dungeons. Our path to the Deku Tree was scale to get hovers. The only... that would be to complete fire for Requiem. So, maybe... Oh, no, wait. 80% this is going to be all dungeons. It's 100% all dungeons because, Requiem was required for Nocturne as well. Oh, you're talking about logic, right? Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, the seed is screaming all dungeons at you. It's practically beating you around the face with a lens, but
Speaking of, here's a big chest in spirit.
And if it's a lens, nope,
No, it's just a wallet.
just a wallet. Who
Yay,
needs money
capitalism.
anyway?
the only thing that we don't have that we would need to put crossing in logic is the lens.
Could we have a lens-locked lens in Shadow?
Lens is not required for Shadow and Logic, right?
Nope. Lens is required for Wasteland and for the landscape.
People with a better understanding of Spirit Key logic than I indicate that it is not actually hard all dungeons. Because we know, because of the Zelda's Lullaby being behind Spirit. Iron Knuckle, 3 hearts, no problem.
Yeah, not with sticks and crouch stabs.
Knuckle successfully dusted.
Is this Zorro playing for a lensless cross of the wasteland?
Will they go to GTG? It's interesting.
It's interesting if this is a push for lensless crossing. That's could well pay off. She's got the strength 2. She's got the mirror shield, bombs, hookshot, bow. It's gonna pay off massively.
Zorro might not have the path to Morpher, the fire path to Morpher hint, because I'm not sure whether it was her or Spike who checked the back of the lake hint that had it.
She has Serenade. It's only an extra 45 seconds, I think. And Zorro did get the Goron tunic. She picked it up the second she left Crater.
It was Spike who did the back of lake hint, so Zorro does not have the path to Morpher hint.
But if you end up in a position where you are long shot from go and you have one path for Morpha left, I wouldn't be surprised if she starts rushing hints. Spending an extra minute to the back lake hint when you've got Serenade, the chance of getting a useful hint for Morpha. It's worth it in my opinion.
Spike getting on the horse. Where are you going? GTG. I guess he has not cleared that opponent path yet. So imagine this will be GTG picking up the item, the both required Jabu items on HBA. Wasteland dead, Sadie in shambles. So some lensless wasteland here for Zorro. How much time has Spike lost by clearing those dungeons? Given that we know that the long shot's in deep fire anyway, hasn't really lost any time with that. Dodongo's Cavern had a scale and had a slingshot and had magic, so again, not necessarily time lost there. Deku just doesn't take a long time, so actually, Spike might not have lost too much time by doing all dungeons, even if it wasn't hard required.
I apparently missed the I had to step away for the restroom, and I come back. We have silver gauntlets and dents.
It was in the river at the very start of the seed, so Zorro went
And-
there for hints, picked it up straight away.
And
Spike just hasn't
the
been there yet.
yeah, and the second strength was there is the 50 hint. The second strength was the boomerang chest in Jabu, which we had hinted.
Wow.
Hinted from the Temple of Time.
And also in the Cack Open Grotto.
Ginger,
Just in
cut me
case
a
you hadn't
break.
got picked.
I'm old and rusty. Okay, I'm still knocking some rust off.
It's a red
And-
rupee in the water
okay,
too.
so, yeah, I thought it would be something shiny. You can see it on the way down at night, then it's probably not useful. Spike's still only at 3 hearts. So that death warp really being quite quick.
Zorro can't check the check on the left because Zelda's Lullaby, because it's behind Spirit Temple. So Zorro is going to be hoping that there's a key there, otherwise they're going to have to find, otherwise they know that, yeah, we're going to have to do all dungeons. And they can't do that yet because they've not picked up the Kokiri sword, which was lurking on 20 skulls.
Being the only old dungeon item she doesn't have left, so... I mean, I don't see her leaving without being in the dungeon. It's gonna... You did recount Spike's path to get to where he is now, and how it wasn't that much time lost doing all dungeons. This level of play, it could well be enough.
Yeah, that is true.
Yes, unfortunately, the river with three checks compared to TG has 13 checks, I think. Forest has 6.
Yeah, the thing with River is that, especially early, it's 3 checks and 3 hints. And it can give you such a good read on where the direction of the seed is heading.
Yeah. Wouldn't you do river on the way to Jabu? Jabu is going to be scale. You're going to access it from lake instead of through the river. A, because it's faster as you've got Serenade. B, because he won't have Zelda's Lullaby at the time. So you'd need to do the chickens, which is even the chicken entry, which is even slower.
$16.70 maybe.
And that's both.
Go with the pot strats first.
Oh,
1960. Holy macaroni. There you are, Spike. Go do Jabu. Also, I can't believe Spike didn't get the perfect 2000. What a scrub.
Zorro is going to be smiling the second she picks up a key. This Adel Iron Knuckle side.
Spike doesn't have strength yet because he's not been kind of domain way.
Yeah, once you get one strength, you're going to get the other. They're both on the same route. So, having strength 1 isn't an issue for Spike.
I will gift a sub to the first person who gets 2000 on restream, by the way.
Bet.
It'll be fine because no one will ever do it.
Most
I'm gonna
people
start practicing.
won't get anywhere close to it because
You don't need to.
so you get once you get to 15, you start spamming the arrows to save frames. Now that I know that it's a competition and there's nominal monetary value in it, I will be doing it.
I mean, you should be doing it anyway for the glory.
Well, I would do it if I'm on restream. Right for restream.
Oh, actually, come to think of it, I think Child Domain was where his hookshot was in the group race he lost to Rahylia. So it's a question of, if you've been burned by a check in a specific place, does that make you more likely to check it? Or you be like, sometimes it's just a check that I hate doing, and if items keep turning up there, I'll keep getting unlucky.
That's an interesting thing. Did I just see anyone who's paying attention to Spike's trip to Spirit? Was that a small key on right hand of Colossus?
No, it's a small chest.
Small chest, not small key.
Zorro?
Yeah. Oh, I do it every time I'm in ZLS Spirit. Every single ZL spot. Check. Muscle memory.
I've definitely done that on. No, I don't. Maybe not there specifically, but definitely gone into fairy fountains and been like, oh.
The water temple's the classic one for me. It's so easy to forget. You dip water, you get the first chest, and then go, oh yeah, I can't do anything, can I?
Also, we haven't seen a lens yet, but there's a good chance. But it could well be in one of those ZL lock checks,
Yeah.
or just elsewhere Zelda's Lullaby locked.
Or whatever. At this point, it could be in the well with Storm's locked behind Spirit as well. As Spirit locked 2 songs, Zelda's Lullaby and an as yet undetermined second. It's the Forest Medallion.
Yeah. Plus every check that's behind Zelda's Lullaby. So that's the Composer's Grave and the or the Royal Family's Tomb, I guess. But you know what I mean. And also the whatever's in Ice Cavern, because there's no KZ skip here.
3 hearts biting Spike bit there, taking a death from the Stalfos in the sand.
Heck, these Stalfos, man.
That's a-
Yeah, if you get sandwiched between them, it can be annoying with the lowered movement of the sand.
They're just one of the harder mini bosses you have to fight. It's not even fair. Oh no.
Speaking of deaths, that was a very awkward hitbox from that Iron Knuckle, but the game says no.
Naboru was taking no shit.
The logic has spoken.
At least it's not the most awkward of bosses to get back to. No, it's no Phantom Ganon, but at least it's not Bongo Bongo.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's
Taking a death on Bongo can kill an entire race.
shout out to the restream. The top 64 restream where one of the runners got soft locked in the shadow pot room at the back and had to go all the way through again because they'd run out of explosives.
Yeah, because they accidentally got stuck in the shadow pot.
Yeah, looking for skulls because there is a skull in there, and there was something on 50. I can't remember what. Oh look, there's another bottle.
Bottle 2. It's interesting that that's so far first non-Rito's letter bottle.
We couldn't see it, but Naboru's dead.
And the pillar was interesting.
Statue, please.
£3 in it.
And time for Troll Rover.
I think it was Mr. Martin versus Mr. Mario, maybe. The race where the runner got soft locked in the back of Shadow. But it could well have happened before. Oh, another biggie. Ha!
GTG just has our bottles. Bottle percent, anybody?
Spike, time to do the best check in the game, my friend.
Well, at least we now have it confirmed that there was no way that Big Pose could have been the path to Barony.
For those of you who aren't familiar with the Big Poe, by the way, the only way to remove a Big Poe from the bottle is to sell it to the shady salesman. You cannot get it out of there in any other way. You can't just empty the bottle if you know Big Pose is dead. If you want the bottle, you have to go and turn it in.
They're too big to let out of the bottle.
I thought you could drink Pose. Or is that something different?
You can drink the small Pose,
Yeah, but Big Pose are too big to drink.
which sounds like someone who has never been a student. There's nothing too big to drink.
Are you trying to say that the Pose are the equivalent of a dirty pint?
You know what?
I mean,
Sure.
I was about to say, I suppose it does give you a varying number of hearts, including negative hearts. So I guess it is more like a dirty pint than I thought.
I'll be honest, thankfully those days are long since behind me.
Yeah, the -1 heart for me would be the
Spike, how you getting in
Oh,
there?
Spike.
Oh, and he's not doing river while he's here. He's warping away.
Yeah, he got there and was like, I'll play ZL and get in, and...
He even pondered it. He brought out the Ocarina, he put it away, he
He
brought it up
tried
again.
it twice.
Yeah.
Anything amusing on Twin Rover? Purple
nope.
Rupee.
Anyway.
Zorro has the full Shadow Kit, so I imagine that's their next port of call. If you've got progression, clear your progression. For them, they might still find Longshot in there because they've not seen the Fire Path to Morph hint. If you're rooting for Zorro to win, then you hope for her sake that this hint, which we've not seen yet,
Yeah.
is the Fire Path to Morph hint.
And now... Is she just going straight up?
I think maybe turning in skulls.
She won't have turned in 10 skulls yet. Oh yeah, to get Zelda's
Oh, I've got to
Lullaby,
pick
of
up
course.
Burning Cack. Yeah. How did we all forget that?
Again, that's another mistake I would be 100% likely to make, is to go into Shadow Temple all the way to the boat and then go, oh yeah, I didn't actually pick up Zelda's Lullaby, did I?
And that'd be fine if we had For All Is Wind, but there's no sight of that yet.
Yeah. At least once you're at the boat, you can push the shortcut.
Zorro milking the Gossip Stone for a fairy.
It definitely makes sense. You don't want to die at Bongo. Have to lose another
Yeah, low on hearts.
7
There's no,
minutes or so to walk all the way back.
not seen double defense yet.
This definitely shows how ignorant I am of Zoodred, how new I am. I didn't know you could... I didn't know that was a thing.
I
you
think
can get-
most of the child songs will give you a small fairy. Song of Storms, I think it is, will give you a big fairy. The big fairy
Correct.
can't fit in a bottle, but it recovers your magic as well as your hearts.
Those of you who have kind of seen some of who are kind of following the vanilla OOT speedruns at the moment, I know people play this game non-randomized. Weird. There's a thing at the moment called Master Series, which has got kind of which asks runners to complete various challenges in the shortest time possible. And the current one is you have to do everything possible to a Gossip Stone, but you can only visit once each age. And that is so like hit it with a sword, read it with the Mask of Truth, hit it with a hammer, bomb it, get a small fairy, get a big fairy, etc. It's an interesting routing task that I
Yes,
do not
there are.
understand.
Yes, chat, there are big fairies. It's not just from Gossip Stones as well. There are some spots in the game where if you play a certain song, you will spawn a big fairy. For example, on
We'll see
the-
one in a second.
Will we?
Yes. I don't know which one you were going to suggest.
Oh, I was going to say in the Composer Grave, one of the skulls in the Room of the Keys. Play the Sun Song on it, a big fairy appears.
Oh, that's it. That's cool. I didn't know that.
It's the one that, basically, if Navi has gone green on a spot on the floor, and it wasn't a Song of Time block, chances are one child song will give you a big fairy on it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Spike's just about to pick up his first strength. In the other, it's the other tentacle, not this one. And his second one is in the Zora Torch run.
Which, if he didn't do, does he do Domain directly after?
On his way out, maybe do Jermaine. have a little meander down the river?
I think he warps out.
By the way, take a look at Navi.
Oh, under the...
I think it's you play Song of Storms in the middle of that room, you get a big fairy.
Yeah, under the BMOS.
Yes. The long shot is in Deep Fire Compass Chest, maybe?
Compass chest, yeah. It's in the compass chest, and Zorro has just picked up a fire temple path to Morpha hint, which is
Spike's
very
had that
good for her
for-
because she has, it's very good
Spike.
for her because she
Sorry, go
has
ahead.
every single, she has every single other item possible for fire temple, or water temple. I mean.
Spike did go straight through the Zorro domain on his way to Jabu, but as you say, on the way out, he might well check it.
Yeah, it's possible that he's skipped the ZD checks so that he can loop ZD and River afterwards.
So, as someone who does not race Zuta, I kind of roll myself some seeds and just stumble through them. Especially when you're in a one-on-one situation, runners really do talk quite a lot. By the way, you can get a fairy from there as well, a big fairy. Runners do talk quite a lot about feeling behind, and when you feel behind, it's natural that you try and cut corners. Is the wrong phrase because it implies that you're playing incorrectly. Obviously, as a commentator, we know where everything is, so it's cheating. And there are lots of checks where actually it's not cutting corners; it's being efficient. It's like, okay, I can skim through this. Like the best runners have that innate sense of, like, they get that feeling of where items are likely to be. Oh, that puts Zorro in go.
Wow.
No, it doesn't. I haven't picked up the.
Zorro is in no, essentially.
Yeah, but
Zorro is one item from go with one unfulfilled path in. And the only other item she knows that she needs for the seed is the gold scale, which cannot be in Fire Temple. Or cannot be in the Compass Jet in Fire Temple. I don't know if she's done any of it yet. Don't think so.
she's done enough to. Oh no, she's not really, because I was like, she must have beaten Volvet, but she hasn't yet. Yeah, runners, and like, you see chat or commentators often, they call it plot armor, which is, oh, they got bailed out, or they found that there. And when you play enough randomizers, and both runners I'm sure will know this, you do get that sense of where you need to be looking for things, even if it's not necessarily hinted.
Whether it's density, whether it's a pattern of where your unhinted items were. If you get two strengths early, and a lot of Spirit Temple opens up early, there's often runners think that there's a reason for that sort of pattern of thinking.
Like when you play the qualifiers for season 6, and you see that for some reason the Goron pot is absolutely loaded. Maybe you're like, you know what? I will just take a detour through Child Goron City and pick up the Goron pot. It's that sort of thing.
Yeah. There is a lot to this game that this style of playing Ocarina of Time that comes with raw experience, just doing it often enough.
And that's not necessarily limited to Ocarina of Time either. If you play like Pokemon Crystal, you do item randomizers there, because that's the Pokemon game that people seem to do item rando, that works best with item rando. Like, people have checks that they refuse to do. Like, I don't want to do the soft sand girls, it takes ages. But there are other things which is like, yeah, that check maybe takes less time, takes a bit more time, but it just seems to be more useful. So you prioritize it. Maybe you play other Zelda randos. Like, you get that sense.
Chat, this will not come down to Casino Dins versus Casino Longshot, unfortunately. It will be Casino Dins, but the Longshot is directly hinted, so...
And at any rate, I think that Zorro just has more. Zorro has a lot more progression done because Spike, quite legitimately saw the hints and played towards all dungeons being hard required.
And I mean,
Whereas
in his defense, it was about. I mean, I'm no mathematician,
Nope.
but I saw the numbers 80% floating around.
It's 50-50. Either it was or it wasn't, right? But it was based on the information we had when the seed was, practically slapping you around the face with a Hylian Loach saying go all dungeons. That Spike was like, yeah, maybe I should go all dungeons. They're not particularly time-consuming dungeons either. With the way it worked out.
As you said, doing all dungeons wasn't particularly slow. I mean, Deku Tree isn't a long time. The time spent in Fire Temple, you need to do anyway. It's just unfortunate that the routing.
And there it is.
There's our big key, but we're still doing the back of Shadow anyway.
Spike opting to orphan River and Domain.
River and Domain.
They might go and they might still go River as adult because they might think, actually, I can, after I go Spirit and Forest clear that, I've got Zelda's Lullaby. There could well be something in Ice Cavern, so you go up River to do that. But Child Domain.
Yeah, it's a bold call to skip both of them because I mean that is 5 checks that you're skipping. But I mean, if you do feel behind, you feel behind.
And from the way things are now, and we know that because where the light arrows are in shadow, that for Spike never has to go Child again, except they do.
And also skipping those checks may be enticing, as it was Forest. Yeah, he's got progression in complete Forest Temple now. We've got an extra 4 checks, I think, here. If I'm counting the keys correctly, I think it's 4 checks left.
Yeah, I believe
Zorro on the Tunnel of Love.
Beans, you have the perfect voice for that. Can you just say Tunnel of Love again for me?
A Tunnel of Love.
Love.
Dastar, nobody did Valley Lake today. They did check Valley, but as adult after horsing their way over.
And it had nothing.
It did have nothing. At $25.
Zorro with the snipe from the ship. And we've all seen enough Randai to know that it's never over till it's over. But I'd say Big Goron is very much readying their voice.
Yeah, it's that the Domain and River skip has unfortunately a significant dent in Spike's chance of pulling anything back here.
But Domain, as you say, there's only 2 checks there. It's highly likely that the item you need isn't there. Just sometimes it is.
Yep. Sometimes you go where the items are, sometimes you don't.
Shay made the good point in chat that it shows the value of early River because, as you say, 3. But getting those 3 hints early makes it something that you want to prioritize earlier in seeds, and the longer you put it off, kind of the less likely you are to do it, because at this point Spike knows all the hints, so that information that might be drawing him into River is not really interesting to him because he's not going to find out anything new by going there, except that that's where Din's Fire is.
So it helps if you practice the tricks for getting particularly lower River itemless. At which point they all become essentially Sphere Zero checks to you.
Yeah.
As we saw one of them, we saw the trickier Sphere Zero check from Zorro getting the lower river right.
And nailed it as well.
Yep, first
But
try.
at the very least, even if they hadn't nailed it, at least they still know, well, I've got to come back here as child because
Exactly, it's knowledge.
that's where Dinspire is. Bongo's in chat, everyone. My red sub has expired, so I'm gonna have to try and find one. Oh, this'll do.
Almost.
Just missing
One.
the one side.
Yeah. I think Bongo landed slightly too far forward.
There it is.
Spike Vegeta has dispatched with the first Poe Raphael.
Did it take you that extra minute to work out which quadret you were gonna pick?
A little bit, yeah. Also, I was trying to remember 150 BPM songs.
The only one I remember is Skater Boy.
Skater Boy, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That's one.
That's just too many words.
And yes, Spike has been avoiding heart pieces. Spike has been avoiding all small chests, like the plague.
Apparently Harder to Breathe by Maroon 5 is 150 BPM. That'll do. This is now Spike summoning Leonardo. It doesn't work because there's not an orange Poe, so unfortunately Michelangelo's drawn the short straw.
No orange Poe, so you can't do the Pac-Man either.
Yeah, I've been thinking about Pac-Man, but that also requires me remembering which one's which.
You say you're thinking about Pac-Man, do you mean just generally or for the quadrat?
A little bit of both. I have a few lined up. I had to go Sex in the City last time because I thought about it late.
Yeah, frantically pulling out your notepad into the back page. The one folded over corner with all your 4 packs.
Yeah, so far I've done the Beatles. Obviously, we've got the Turtles now. I think everyone clocked the Turtles. Sex in the City, and also 2000s British boy band Blue. There's only so many foursomes that exist in the world.
Choose on Max. Zorro is... alright, yeah.
With they've got ZL, they've got the Forest Medallion, so they're fishing for Bolero, so they don't have to hike to Crater.
Bolero, they have been disappointed. Now we're getting the long track from the graveyard to the crater.
Yeah, going up the mountain rather than through the woods.
Saying Zorro numed through this seed while they were sleeping. Yeah, that's what happens when Zelda's Lullaby is on one of your deep songs.
And not going to believe it, just a little bit late, but happy 2 hours to all of our members in chat, the commentating team, the tracking team, and to our runners.
That is true. Happy 2 hours, everyone. And let's get some things in the chat. There's R. Thank our runners, Spikevegeta and Zorro today. They are putting on a great show for us, especially in a little bit of an awkward seed. C, my other commentators in the booth. Thank you, Killer Beans, the returning hero, and Benjy Reese. What's the other one? T. Trackers today are Shay, Emerald Mousy, and Ginger Sunny, who is also doubling up as our race monitor. And thank you to Tobias for restreaming today. using his computer's processor power to pictures on the screen for us. And we do have a restreamer command. Thank you, Benjy.
I just found my old tracker sheet. So this will be my 9th time doing comms. Now, of my 9 times on comms, 4 of them have had FPA, 3 of them have required beans, and 1 has not required anything. It's just been a normal seat.
0 beans, and nobody's computer has kicked it today. Let's hope that
There's still time.
there's still time.
I became the cursed commentator because the very first 3 times I commentated, all 3 back to back to back had FPA.
I mean, that is. I feel like FPA, you get it maybe. What? 1 in 4 races max, probably, and usually they're not. Usually they're not big FPAs either. Like it's just a little thing.
I've had one potential once, but yeah, I mean, even then, if someone has crashed and then still won, you still don't need to engage it. For those who aren't sure what we're talking about, FPA is Fair Play Agreement, is it?
That is the one.
Yes. So that basically means if a runner has crashed or something out of their control has broken their ability to perform, they can retrace their steps, and we will modify their time as needed.
Yeah, so it's, as you say, things like VC emulator crashes, power outages, internet dying, controller problems, things like that. There are certain things, sometimes the game just breaks, like that, but that's FPAable. But there are some things which are not, which seem like they would be FPAable, but are not because they're considered known softlocks. Things like pulling your Ocarina out for the wrong scarecrow, using Din's fire in the top of Spirit, because it's documented that happens.
I believe that's fixed as well.
Which one?
Din's in Spirit.
Oh, really? That'd be huge. But yes, they are considered.
Ginger pointing out the other one. If you shoot the target in the woods 4 times.
Oh, really?
Yes.
If you fire too fast and the 4th seed hits before it does the thing that gives you the item, softlocks.
Beans, you say you have the list?
Well, I thought I did. I have the whole document on what FPA is and how it works. But it just says any crashes or soft locks similar to the list above, which I can't click the link, I'm on a piece of paper, is not covered. That's how many times I've had FPA to the point I just have the whole document printed out.
That's when you know that you've been scarred. When you have to literally print it out.
I should have just committed to memory as many times as I've seen it.
Spike with his 3rd dungeon completed there. His 3rd medallion done, 2nd medallion dungeon completed even. His 3rd medallion. That's Forest Down, slowest temple.
Spike can...
Serenade. Oh, is this,
Spike can clear water. Got the long shot.
he does have a long shot. This is just more progression.
Yeah, and he's got Nocturne as well. Got magic, but can't get into Shadow because, of course, hasn't been to River to check to find Dins yet.
As someone mentioned in chat earlier, after beating Jabu, it was quite likely he would have skipped Wrecking, Domain, and River because there was so much aggression opened up. Strength 1 blocks a lot of things when it comes to dungeons.
Yeah, this is one of the things where the strength locked checks in water are not. They are hard strength locks. You can't. Oh, Spike! You might have to. I think he's just going to take the day. Oh, of course, got a fairy.
That's bad news for him as well, because I think that means he still only has 6 seconds.
Oh no, I didn't realise that.
Oh,
Usually you only
no.
see it as a problem in the Volvagia fight, where if you get killed by the spicy noodle herself, it doesn't reset your heat timer. That was a very snazzy setup by Zorro there. I have not seen that one. Using the displacement from dropping a bomb, put yourself in the right location for the strengthless jump. Of course, if you have a bomb bag and a shield anyway, then you might as well just ground jump your way strengthless, but... And see, things like this have burned Spike somewhat for skipping all those heart pieces. Death Dust Alphos here. Some heat, well, it could have been heat timer shenanigans. The amount of time you can spend underwater in Water Temple, they're adding up. I think it is quite telling that if you watch the top seeds in the standard tournament going on at the moment, they still tend to finish with more than 3 hearts. Oh, and that's another big chest in water. Gonna be even more bait, unless this is strength 3.
No. Strength 3, that's too easy.
It would
It's
help.
not rando enough.
Yeah, but I don't think until he's got Dins, it's not going to help him enough. But Dins is significantly easier to find for him than the other strength would be, because when is he going to go child again? Because at this point, he's got, what, 2 child locked checks left? 3 child locked... Hang on, 2... What was I saying? 1 other child lock check left, which is 2 other child lock checks left. He's got the 2 Saria's checks, which are hard child, and there's a half-hour
Big
time
stabby.
save.
It's nice to have. Unfortunately, you'd rather have it earlier in the seed, before Forest, before Shadow.
Well, he's got it before Shadow, to be fair.
Somehow, I'm not sure we're going to see Shadow Spike side.
And Spike has the problem of he's trying to do ZL-less water, and it's just not and he's basically not letting him.
Yeah.
So where does he go now? Turning the big pog bottle. To the very reputable business person.
Ah! There it is.
As I was telling you, extremely reputable. Rush big pogs, it always comes in.
No, the logic is rush ice.
He's now got spirit completable, so 100% go and do that. Oh, now I hear the mooing better. Yeah, I've changed headphones because my other ones ran out of battery, and I put these ones a bit louder because the audio quality is not as good, and I can fully hear the mooing. Anyone think it sounds a little bit like an air raid siren? It's kind of mesmerizing. The K sword is on 20 skulls, Purple. It's part of the reason why Zorro didn't push AD, because they couldn't do it.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, unfortunately, even if Spike picked up both the strength and the dins in his next 2 checks, he's still got all of Shadow to do, and Water, and the end spirit. Zorro has to pick up the long shot in this next Fire Temple Compass chest and do Water. That's it.
And they can go mode Water. It's just find the boss key.
There
Cool.
it is, and time for water.
Yep.
I think the main difference is Spike looking at the hints and using those to decide that the seed was saying you need to do all dungeons, and Spike agreed with that, and Zorro just kind of put a middle finger up to Randobot's playthrough. We never found out where that lens was, but somewhere that's Zelda's Lullaby locked.
Beyond the all dungeons, because the all dungeons being bait, probably, I don't know how well Spike knows Spirit Key logic to know if all dungeons was bait before actually coming back.
I don't know if anyone knows Spirit Key logic that well.
Did leave for about 45 seconds, so where was strength 3?
Big Pogs.
Big Pogs.
Look, everyone's allowed a check or two that they love for reasons probably no more than just they find it kind of funny. For me, it's Bomb Tube Bowling as a child and Big Pog as an adult.
Zorro skipping out on the big stabby.
I mean, from their point of view, makes sense.
Yeah.
There are X number of of items left that can be in big chests, and they don't need any of them.
Nope. There's no point going out of your way for what's probably going to be your Stone of Agony.
Yeah, Stone of Agony, from Zorro's perspective, it could be Strength 3, could be... We've seen Nehru's, but it could be Feroz, and Feroz is less valuable when you don't need the hint from Ganondorf. Could be the K-Sword. There's another sling upgrade out there somewhere, like double defense.
She knows it's not K-Sword. Because that's a Zelda's Lullaby locked egg. And...
Yep.
Question in chat, why was Deku Tree path to Twin Rover? There was a gold scale on Goma, which led you to your hover boots that were hinted in Lab Dive. That allowed you to beat Fire Temple for the Requiem of Spirit on the Ocarina of Time. And it was all for Spirit Key logic.
Because, obviously.
Yep. Just unfortunately for Spike in this case, it was not required. Spirit Key logic.
Yeah, there was a decent chance that you'd be hard child locked, either because the boss key's there, or maybe you need a major item, or there's just, because we know that Zelda's Lullaby is behind Spirit, that the one adult check you can do doesn't have a key, in which case you definitely need to go child.
Yep.
It just not how Randobot rolled it today.
And it could have eaten up a good amount of Zorro's time. If this was hard required, crossing the wasteland is a time investment. When is Spirit Temple getting a Keezy treatment? For all the smooth brains. Yeah, add You know, we kept a spare key in Water Temple, didn't we? Let's just add 14 checks in Spirit. We can afford to lose some of them. Add in 4 new spare keys.
I was going to say add a key ring in, but then you find that the key ring is hard on child side and you need still dungeons for it.
Yeah. We do not know where the Water Pig key is yet. Spike dipped water, but without Zelda's Lullaby, you know, you can only do so much of it.
This is one of only 2 hard iron boots lock checked in the game. The other being the icy waters in Zora's Fountain. These.
And well,
Oh yes, I forgot about
not
toilet.
chat, you can't forget about the toilet.
The toilet is toilet hard iron boots locked.
Yes. The bottom one you need it for.
Ah.
If Dastar is in the chat, he can definitely let us know.
Is there a fairy? Look like it. Oh, no, there is.
Ah, it's fine. Logically, you need the iron boots to get into Water Temple because you can get in with gold scale, but that's not in logic.
Well, if we were going to get technical, getting into water with gold scale is in logic.
Oh really? I thought that wasn't in logic.
Is in logic, but none of the checks in Water Temple are.
That makes sense.
It's important to understand that, because if you have, for example, Boss Keyzion, Morpha is gold scale locked. All of the checks in water aren't. So you can end up in a situation where the iron boots are on Morpha.
I see. So this is why TFB Triforce Splits specifically turned off iron boots
That's specifically why Triforce Blitz turned off gold scale entry.
because it sucks to have gold scale entry for the one check that you can do.
Yep.
In the same way that they turned off the boomerang chest because it sucks to have to go all the way out to Jabu for the one check that you can do there.
Exactly.
I'm
So
right.
in all standard settings, you don't need to worry about that detail because Morpha is always irons locked because the key is going to be iron.
I'm so excited for Triforce Blitz Season 2.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, thankfully though we've got so much more Challenge Cup to come before that, and we've got the got more multi-world as well. God, there's so much Zuta coming up. Oh, we get to you.
That Way of the Hero Locations command is getting is a large message now.
Benjy doing a bang up job with the sheet though. Shout out to the magical spreadsheet that with the bot that just pulls everything straight through from that.
I've said though in the past that you know it's a good seed when either A, the path command has a question mark in it, or if the path command takes up 2 messages. If the bot has to make 2 messages, you know it's a good seed.
And the thing is, I must say I've enjoyed the seed because it's been complicated, but hasn't necessarily felt like a slog.
No.
It's just been interesting logically.
Other than the Deku Tree hint, these have been good hints. Inuit giving you your hammer. The long shot just being directly hinted. You getting to know that your hook shots are bomb locked. And
Of course.
Classic Epona. Epona leads to everything for Jabu.
That's the other reason why the seed says go all dungeons, because because logically you can't cross the wasteland to pick up your Nocturne that you need without it.
And the Fire Temple is even more annoying because Bolero is that deep. A Scavern Bolero with required fire.
And there's the boss key on the dragon chest.
On dragon chest. Still nobody can decide what's the best water temple route. Do you do the dragon chest? When do you do the dragon chest? Do you do the compass chest first?
The best one is the one that turns off all the checks, and you can just go straight through, kill Morpher, and get out again.
That's basically 70% of seeds.
But I have to find at least the boss key normally, and I just don't want to.
Yeah. Water Temple is an interesting dungeon in the fact that there's quite a few chests. I think there are 10 chests.
Yeah.
6 of them are keys. So, it's tied with Jabu for the least dense dungeon.
Missing the insta grab, and Spike still looking for that Din's fire.
Yeah, more density.
Yeah, again, perfectly defensible play. Just
it's the correct play in this. In my opinion, it's the correct play. Go well. There are 11, I think. 11 checks as well.
We did say when's Spike going to go child again, and yeah, now he's got that. Now he's got that. That's going to do it. But again, we know that he just needs to go to the river.
At least we're going to see bottom of the well on the seed.
Shai is correct. There could be a French vanilla lens here. That would explain why you can't cross the wasteland.
Okay. I'm just hoping for a not even a French vanilla lens, a full-on vanilla lens.
The vanillist of French vanillas.
Not that I have anything against the French. Din's is in Lower River. It's the Lower River freestanding piece of heart.
You said you got nothing against the French. I just had to go check the Six Nations results to see if you'd played. But you haven't yet, so.
Neither of my teams have yet. I mean, I've always been Irish, as you can tell by my accent and my Irish name. No, my attitude coming into the Six Nations was I will cheer for whoever does better out of England and Wales, and the first week was a massive disaster. Nice.
Yeah, we got one nice night in the pub. Night
More bait.
He's still yet to do bongo.
And that's sling percent for us.
Yeah, this always feels bad when you're in the well and 50% of the checks are big and they're all wrong. Happens more often than should be statistically possible. I've never seen anyone successfully get it and come unstuck from the coffin before.
And Spike eschewing capitalism and saying, heck your money.
Scotland versus France coming this weekend. It's going to be good.
I genuinely think that will be a really good game. Come on, Scotland. I don't know who I am anymore.
And nothing fun in validation chest today, just a key.
Oh, it's not even a key.
For the fans. Getting that all important blue pea.
What are they hoping for there? Just another heart container, I guess?
Yeah, I can see that.
Or just doing it for the banter?
I mean, you haven't got double defense. You are at this point you are one hit away from dying to Ganon. Heart container might not sound like a lot, but it is a lot. And
Oh no!
for example,
That is a death.
one hit kills you. One hit kills you on Iron
Feels
Knuckles. One
bad.
hit kills you on Ganon.
Zorro, you should definitely root in the trials to make sure that you get extra heart.
Could Well, maybe not written in the trials, but there is that hidden cubbyhole.
With the scrubs and a lot of fairies.
Yep.
Although actually,
Potions.
I don't think Zorro can pick up a fairy. Well, they can pick up a fairy, but I doubt they would, because I think they've only got one bottle.
I think
Um,
they have one bottle, but they've released the.
Let's go.
That's probably happy. They've released the letter from it, so it's an empty bottle. Dastar's happy we're getting.
Bomb Chew.
Happy we're getting Bomb Chew strats.
Yeah, the Spice Girls reunion tour is going to be cut short. Spike, did you check the basement?
I think he key counted.
Maybe, yeah, makes sense.
I have heard a thing that if you die at some point during the Ganondorf or Ganon fight, it will trigger the tower sequence. Is that a thing?
No. If you die to Ganon, it drops you at the, or when you reselect your file, it starts you with a collapsed tower.
I think
Collapsed.
if you've got collapse on, it restarts you at the collapse. But in standard settings, collapse is mercifully off.
We should turn collapse back on.
Should we? I'm
Do you know
not
how many
convinced.
races could be decided by tower collapse?
God. The problem is I do, and I don't want to ever be in a situation where I lose because I'm terrible at tower collapse. But it's still
Tower collapse, my favorite sequence.
Massive advantage for anyone who plays RSL.
yeah, I was going to say, because that's one of the there's a I don't know if it's 50-50 to have collapse on, but that is an option in.
I don't believe so. I think it's rated to be less on than 50%. Still a possibility, but
The way stuff is weighted in RSL is amazing because everything is given away, even like how many big pose or chickens you need. Missing the one cycle there is Zorro because no big Goron. But thankfully, Ganon's going for Shadow Ball.
I never knew you could shoot him with the light arrow while he was doing that.
Yeah, it's great.
I didn't know that till I started watching more Zuda races.
Yeah, same.
Every time that occurred to me, it was just run and survive.
Yeah, I think
that's the easiest one because if you do a spin attack, it reflects all the balls.
Oh,
So you
interesting.
spin the time. Yeah, I thought that was the point of it. It's a spin attack.
Ah.
But then again, as a child, I also thought you could only reflect the balls with spin attacks, so that's why I got really into it.
I mean, let's be honest. If we're really talking about reflecting balls on a boss fight, is this Ocarina of Time or is it Link to the Past? Also, I think because we're 96th Ocarina of Time came out. Or was it a bit later than that? Like 98? I can't remember. Anyway, this is pre-physical special split, so that's a physical move anyway. So I think Link should be fine. 98. So it is 25 years old this year. You think I, as a Zuta commentator, would know this?
Very quick Ganon. Oh, I'm a little late. So after 2.5 hours. Here.
Oh.
It was so good, it cut you out because it couldn't let people hear it.
Transcended space and time. In case you didn't know, it's Ganon that's here.
How do we like our bacon? I always ask.
Still somewhat floppy, so it resembles meat rather than.
It depends whether I'm having streaky or like rashes, I think. Although I must admit, we don't actually have bacon in the house at the moment because my other half is vegetarian, and every time meat comes in the house, the cats know. They just know. It's amazing. Spike's finally going to see Dins. Oh, is he even going to see Dins before Zorro done?
And at 2:32, I didn't see the seconds, but at 2:32, that is good game for Zorro. And Spike has stopped walking. Spike has stopped walking with Din hidden behind the pillar.
He might just go down and get the bag.
There he
Yep.
is. That is... I'll be honest, it's bad, but that is quite funny timing.
Yeah, it is kind of funny. I won't pretend that it wasn't. As much as that will pain Spike.
Yeah.
I do want to ask him about that.
Sometimes.
Yeah, that's definitely something we'll bring up in the interview chat. If you have any interview questions, potentially start thinking about them. Obviously, we're going to ask the runners if they wish to come in. I know that Zorro is French, and we do have a French restream of this. Menu is restreaming it on their channel, so she might prefer to go over there. I'm not sure of the quality of her English, and again, not sure whether Spike wants to jump in. While we always greatly appreciate it when runners come for interview, it's never mandated. So,
And Spike stopping just short inside of Din's fire.
Yeah.
Feels bad.
Did forget to... I didn't know the race was being restreamed in French, so catching up on the thank yous, on the happy hours. Thank you to Manu for doing the restream in French. There is a link to their channel.
One of the things that I was amazed when I started watching more Zoota was how big the French community is.
Yes. A lot of the top players are French.
Yeah, or francophone at the very least.
Yeah, there's some Quebecy, aren't there?
And there's also a decent sized Brazilian community as well, because I remember that we've seen, I think Sunday's match between KP and Fant was restreamed on Rando Brazil because KP is a Brazilian runner. So shout out to everyone restreaming and watching Zootas in their native languages everywhere. It's great when you get multiple languages available. It's very fun. And actually, speaking of the French community, we're going to get an all French match coming up in round 2, aren't we? With Zorro taking place against Alexis.
It will be. Round 2 still yet to be scheduled. We've still got plenty of... How many brackets matches do we have left? 6, I think. I have the brackets open.
Yeah, so there is a command for that actually. Exclamation point challenge. And if my eyes do not deceive me, we are well joined in voice chat by Zorro. GG.
Hello, thanks.
Yep, good game. I guess, firstly,
Hey,
how did you find
GGs.
the seed?
It was pretty funny because the pass in Deku, I was like, what is it? Is it like, I don't know. I was thinking about like lens or maybe something like that. But if you have Kokiri Sword, I think you can have Requiem. So I don't know, maybe the scale for the overboots or something like that.
It is exactly the gold scale to get your hover boots.
Yeah, okay.
The seed was, a lot of the hints felt like they were kind of telling you to go and complete all dungeons to pick up Requiem that way, but you chose to cross the wasteland kind of manually
to get up to that. That's what it is. Okay. I'm sorry coming into the call. I was so confused why hovers were on the path of spirit. And now we know.
Hey, GG.
It didn't lock it. Hammer didn't lock it. Hey, GG, by the way. Yeah, sorry. GG, Zorro. I am looking at my Ditton's Fire right now.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yes, 2 of the 5 path hints did scream at you to go all dungeons. Unfortunately, that was just for key logic and wasn't actually required.
Yep.
Yeah. What was it a key like on behind the torches in spirit?
the other one, behind the range switch in the Stalfos room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
So,
child loop.
so Zorro, did you do all dungeons?
No.
Ah.
No, I didn't. I don't have the Kokiri sword. I don't know where it was actually.
It's on 20. I was hoping that was gonna pay out for me. Well,
Yeah,
Okay.
there were two things that hurt you here, Spike. One was the all dungeons. Unfortunately, the other was not just skipping river, but skipping child domain as well, as that had the third strength.
wow. Yeah.
So
That was the one. Yeah, I don't even think if I do both of those going up to Jabu, I think I lose anyways. I could be wrong. I don't know. Where was lights?
In shadow.
In shadow. Okay.
Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
on your way.
just on the way.
But when I found Ruto's letter and Boomerang at the archery, that was funny. I just rushed. I just did my dungeon.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, firstly, excellent sense of humor from Rando putting them both on horseback archery.
That was
opponents
funny.
of this path. For which item? Yes, it is. Also, Spike, what a performance in the archery.
1960. I was like, I've never hit a 2K. That might be my first like 1900. That was funny.
So close.
Unfortunately, no bonus for getting 2000.
No. I wish they'd given me dins and a fourth strength. That would have been good.
It just gives you whatever your go mode item
Yeah.
is.
Yo, that's all right. New season 7. If you 2000 horseback archery, you get your own pick of whatever item you want.
Let's go. 2000 horseback archery, Hylian and Loach. Put them in. Devs, you know what to do.
I don't know if you have like another question for me, but I think I will go because the French restream is waiting for me. But
Yes.
That's perfectly okay.
okay, but thanks for the restream and GG again, Spike.
Yeah,
problem.
GG
Thanks for
Zorro.
joining.
Good luck in your next race.
Really well played,
Thanks.
Zorro.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, as we mentioned in chat, Menu is restreaming the race in French, and as Zorro is French themselves, obviously speaking in your native language is a lot easier. So everyone who comes in for interview, we are greatly appreciative of. I'll let my words get out my mouth first, but doing it in a second language as well must be somewhat terrifying. So always greatly appreciated. Spike, the other thing was you put off DC for a little bit as well.
I did. Yeah. I feel like I generally, when it's a stone, I put it off for a little bit. I mean, it depends on if you get to the point where just, all you have is like bomb bag. But then bomb bag led to hook shot into bow. And, we were able to do a few other things. And I wanted to chase that fire hint for what was apparently long shot. And then that just took a while because then, of course, it was Scarecrow locked. And Serenade was on adult side. So going back and forth. If you do early, I don't know if Zorro did early South Hyrule, then that route's fine. It did not route fine for me. So
I think they picked it up after you did.
I think it was after.
But I think that's but I think they were able to, but I don't think they went there before they went child. I think they went child first to set the Scarecrow, and before they went back the second time, which did cut some things down. And there was a moment where obviously we saw you kind of collect some of the DC skulls, especially that are a bit out of the way because you get the 30 use magic hint. So obviously you play towards that, and then you find the other magic, and then it looked like 20 skulls was going to pay off anyway because it had the Kakiri sword.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate. By far, my least favorite song to land on OOT is Requiem because I'm like, it's a greater than 50% chance you hard need it. And then once we determine ZL's locked behind Spirit, I'm like, this has to be, and it's not hard required.
Yeah, I mean, because it has to be a key on the one adult side check you can do. Otherwise, it is hard AD. Like as you say, it's in terms of kind of reading the seed, it's a perfectly defensible play. It can even be argued it's the in terms of how the seed played out, it wasn't the quote unquote right play, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't necessary, but it was a bad decision to make. Like I think a lot of runners in your position would have done exactly the same thing. We were having the debate on comms whether we would or we wouldn't, and I think we were saying that. I mean, when the seed is kind of giving you that much and pushing you in that direction that much, it feels right.
Yeah, and you've also got it depends on what the stones are, right? Like it's not like I was having to be like forest and shadow. It was DC, which Get Sphere Zero Bomb back. Kokiri Sword is on the 20 that I killed all those skulls for.
Yeah,
so I kind of had to commit to that. And you were already going into fire chasing the path for water. So it just made sense to do it. It's super unfortunate that that kind of screwed it over. Oh well.
Not
Yeah,
to
I mean-
mention the Deku tree was already a path, so you were being pointed that direction anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had actually not seen the path at the time I had done it. I thought go there, oh, it's just all going to be garbage, but
Yeah. The first hintstone that was on was in the River Grotto. That was, I think, the other big difference was after doing Adult Cat, Zorro went straight into River, presumably to get just to have a look and try and pick up those early hints as well. But she didn't pick up the fire path to Mortha hint until she was entering Shadow, because the other indication of that hint was on the Shadow pedestal.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
said at the very beginning of the stream, I went up to Kakariko and I said, do I want to go up Zora's River? Man, I should have went up Zora's River. I should have went up Zora's River, man. That sucks.
It's really interesting, I think, how I'm sure in previous seasons it didn't feel like we saw as many adult river plays, but I think this year, a lot of people have cottoned on to, I want A, the checks, and B, I want the information early. So we're seeing a lot of runners push it more, and this time
paths rather than Way of the Heroes as being part of that. The hints do feel stronger.
yeah, that's a fair point. Actually, I'd say this as a child of the Path era. So Woths are like, I never understood how people could root things with Woths out there, but that's by the by. I think chat's kind of agreeing with you, like that Requiem's the worst song to have on all dungeons because it's Schrodinger's all dungeons. Like you've no idea whether it's alive or dead or not until you do it.
Yeah. And it's like, then if you don't do it, then you're walking out across the wasteland if you want to get out there anyways. Yeah. That's yeah. I think this seed obviously Zorro routed this better than me. Like I'm not saying it was the wrong play. I think I felt good about, and she couldn't make that play. She didn't have the Kokiri sword. I felt good in my situation to do it. It's just unfortunate.
Yeah, that's rando, innit? You can't always make the right decisions. But yeah,
one of the users in our chat, Wayfaring Fox, actually did the math and figured out apparently with a ZL spirit and Requiem on AD, it was like a more than 50% chance of all dungeons just for that alone.
Oh,
yeah. In the end, the math was in your favor. The particular seed that Randobot rolled for you today, decided not to.
Because it sounds like if it had been that swings the whole race. Because I don't know how close Zorro was to 20 skulls to get blind Kokiri sword.
I think she was on around 17 or 18.
15 says my tracker.
Yeah, by the end she was getting close. Yeah, and then it would have just come down to probably picking up the K sword versus eventually going towards River and finding the other strength, which of course I was delighted to find on Big Pogs.
Thing is, I remember counting it on commentary, and she would have had access to 4 skulls in fire, which would have been the next play, and then you've got 1 to find, so 20 skulls would have been pretty sharply after that.
And as you say, like for an all dungeons, I mean, you picked up the Ocarina of Time at 1 hour 20. You had to do fire anyway for the path. DC never takes long. Loads of people always do stone DC anyway, just because lots of early checks you can find, and Deku Tree was hinted path. So it's just one of those things, I guess.
Yep,
we're gonna call it a crapshoot.
Yep, but that's okay. Had a lot of fun this season. I'm looking forward to season 7. So.
Yeah, it's been great having you down in Challenge Cup this year. I don't know if you've got any. I know you do a lot of various things, randomized and non-randomized, on your stream. So I don't know if you've got any more OOTA plans coming up, or whether you're just going to park that for a bit and try and focus on some other things.
Yeah, I I've still been enjoying playing some OoT on stream. I'm definitely going to focus a little bit on Majora's Mask Randomizer. I've got a whole event I got to do with I Eat Your Pie. I have to do. I'm getting to do with I Eat Your Pie here in the next month. But yeah, if you want to watch randomizers on my stream, Majora's Mask Randomizer, I'm in the Blitz tournament for that, so it should be fun.
Have you,
while you're speaking of it, go right ahead and plug that MoMAM event.
Oh yeah, MoMAM. Yeah, if you're in my chat, ! Predictions. Yeah, it's Month of Mushrooms and Mayhem. Myself and I Eat Your Pie once a year. We took last year off, but once a year we'll do an event where we just play a bunch of games throughout the month, and you can predict who's gonna win each of the either speed runs or challenge runs every day, and it's just a good time. We've always had a lot of laughs with it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to March 1st where we'll get it started. It'll be all month of March. Should be a good time.
Hot damn.
Hot damn.
And also, have you tried the OOT combo rando?
I have. I messed around with it a little bit. I am waiting till it's fully customizable, and then I'm probably going to start playing it on stream. I obviously love both these randomizers, so that'll be a fun time.
I thought it melts my mind.
Yeah, it's so much. It's so much. That's why I was like, I love it. People are like, oh, co-op with another person, we can do it in like 6 hours. I'm like, I need that to be like solo. We somehow have settings where like 4 hours is a solo seed, So I'm waiting till like you can junk a number of checks. You can make it like certain kind of settings for like what your Rainbow Bridge and Moon requirements are. So I'm just kind of waiting for that. But yes, that will be played on my stream here probably throughout this next summer. So.
Hot damn.
Exciting stuff coming up.
That's about the right time to say thank you, Spike, for joining us for an interview, and I shall get our viewers going. Spike, do you have anything more coming up today? Or is this the end of your
tonight's gonna be Road to MoMAM. We're doing a little 3-day event building up to it. So tonight's day 2. We're gonna play a bunch of N64 multiplayer games. But I will be cutting because I gotta go take care of my puppies. So
take care of the doggos.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for joining us for an interview. And for the Silver Gauntlets viewers, we're looking forward to seeing you again on looks at schedule
Friday, right?
Friday, exactly. Emo Soda versus Stuckman, 2 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central European time.
There's so much stuff coming out. We've got
we've got two races on Saturday for Challenge Cup. On Sunday we have, if you're kind of fed up with all the Challenge Cup, all the standard Season 6 seeds, we have Multi-World coming up. The Game 2 of the semifinals. That is Snack Pack versus the highest Gorons. And finally, that's it. That's what's on the schedule for the moment. Round 2 matches are already hitting our submission form, though. So more Challenge Cup coming